Every year, it seems like half the league ends up in the All-Star game. But truth is, a lot of great players get left off. Sometimes, players end up with great numbers, but had a bad first half which cost them an All-Star bid. Sometimes, these guys end up being MVPs and Cy Young winners. For 2022, let's look at the top 10 players that didn't make the All-Star team and try to explain why. First, 2 honorable mentions. 2 rookies that had awesome years but didn't put in a full season. Michael Harris won the NL Rookie of the Year, playing in 114 games, batting .297, 19 homers, 20 stolen bases, an .853 OPS and a .135 OPS+. He wasn't called up until the end of May, so even though he had a great 48-game first half with an .816 OPS, it wasn't enough to make the All-Star team. Adley Rutschman finished second in the AL Rookie of the Year vote, but he got called up just a week before Harris. He was only hitting .222 with an OPS of .722, so that's not great. Finishing with a much better line with a .254 average, 13 homers, .806 OPS, and .128 OPS+. Number 10 is Max Scherzer. He spent some time on the IL, but still put in 23 great starts, finishing 11-5 with a .229 ERA and a .169 ERA+. No Cy Young votes this year, but still a very good season. His first half was also good, 6-1 with a .222 ERA, but he missed half of May and all of June, coming back in July. The body of work just wasn't there for an All-Star bid. Number 9 is Carlos Correa. He played 136 games for his new team, hitting .291, 22 homers, 64 RBI, .834 OPS and a .140 OPS+, also posting a very good 5.4 WAR. He had a better second half for sure, but his first half was very solid, a .279 average and an .803 OPS. It wasn't good enough to overtake Tim Anderson, hitting .310 with a .767 OPS, and he won the fan vote to be the starter. You also had Xander Bogaerts, hitting .316 with an .842 OPS, or Corey Seager, hitting .251 with an .804 OPS, but also belting 22 homers in the first half, the same number Correa had for the whole year. Correa was a borderline all-star and he just missed the cut. Number 8 is Aaron Nola. He was a workhorse in 2022, 32 starts but only an 11-13 record, a .325 ERA and a .125 ERA+, but he finished 4th in the NL Cy Young race. You would think maybe his second half was better than his first half, but no. He had a .313 ERA over his first 19 starts, and that rose to .345 in the second half. So he was good enough to be considered the 4th best pitcher in the National League, but wasn't considered All-Star worthy, even with a better first half stat line. Number 7 is Steven Kwan. His season started with a bang, making headlines for seeing 116 pitches without swinging and missing. He was the quintessential leadoff man, hitting .298 with an OPS of .772 despite hitting with almost no power, a .124 OPS+. He also stole 19 bases and walked 2 more times than he struck out. Despite his good first half, he was much better in the second half, earning 3rd place in the Rookie of the Year vote and a Gold Glove. His .279 average and .720 OPS wasn't good enough to break into a crowded AL outfield. Number 6 is Tommy Edman. His offensive stats weren't all that impressive. A solid .265 average, .725 OPS, .108 OPS+, stealing 32 bags, but he had a 6.3 WAR, bolstered by a very good 2.5 defensive WAR. It wasn't good enough for a Gold Glove, but he proved to be a great all-around player. He was better all around in the second half, hitting 17 points higher, his OPS rising by 69 points. He played a good mix of second base and shortstop in the first half, and wasn't good enough to overtake guys like Trey Turner, Jeff McNeil, Jake Cronenworth, Dansby Swanson, or Jazz Chisholm. Number 5 is Brandon Nimmo. This is the first time he's put in anywhere near a full season since 2018. He was a solid leadoff man, hitting .274, 16 homers, 64 RBI, an .800 OPS, and a 5 WAR. His first and second halves were almost identical, just a little bit better in the second half, so I guess he just wasn't good enough to make the cut. Number 4 is Zach Gallen. Playing in Arizona, he was under the radar, but he was awesome. 31 starts, 12-4 record, 184 innings, a .254 ERA, a league best .913 WHIP, and he finished 5th in the NL Cy Young vote. This was mainly due to his second half. His first half was just okay, a .356 ERA over 17 starts, but that second half was amazing. A .149 ERA over 14 starts, and he went 6 starts in August and September where he did not allow a run. 44 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings. Number 3 is JT REALMUTO. No player in baseball finished with a higher WAR without making the All-Star team, REALMUTO finishing with 6.5. This was boosted by his 2.1 defensive WAR, going along with a Gold Glove award, but the guy can also hit. A .276 average, 22 homers, 84 RBI, 820 OPS and a 129 OPS plus, also stealing 21 bases, which is very impressive for anyone these days, let alone a catcher. This was good for a Silver Slugger award. Once again, we're looking at a great season fueled by a strong second half. In the first half, he only hit .252, 8 homers, and an OPS of 722. That's just about average. In the second half, he hit 14 home runs despite playing in 19 fewer games, raised his average to .307, and his OPS jumped to .949. Wilson Contreras and Travis d'Arnaud got the All-Star nod over REALMUTO. Number 2 is Julio Urias. He emerged as the ace of the Dodgers in 2022, coming off a 20-win season with a sub-3 ERA and a 7th-place Cy Young finish. And he was even better this year. 31 starts, 17-7 record, .216 ERA, 3rd place in the Cy Young, 14th place for the MVP, and no All-Star bid. This one can be explained. His first half was good, but not amazing. 18 starts, 8-6 record, .289 ERA. His second half was absolutely absurd. 13 starts, 9-1 record, 126 ERA. You could have put him on the All-Star team based on that first half, but it's just funny that the National League leader in ERA didn't make the All-Star team. Number 1 is Dylan Cease. I really couldn't believe that Dylan Cease did not make the All-Star team. He had an absolutely amazing season. 32 starts, 14-8 record, .220 ERA, 180 ERA plus. Finished second in the Cy Young vote and even got an MVP vote. You can't blame it on a weak first half either. He had 19 starts and a .215 ERA. He actually got worse in the second half. This snub was so egregious that some people think that White Sox ownership was behind it. They think they were trying to keep his costs down in arbitration. Who knows if that's true, but there's no real explanation that I can think of. That's a wrap on the best players that didn't make the All-Star team in 2022. There are lots of great names on here that had a WAR over 5. Marcus Semien, Christian Walker, Francisco Lindor, Zach Wheeler, so many others. But for me, these are my top 10. Let me know what you think, and if there was anyone else who had an amazing season that should have made the list. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're new here and want to see more content like this, please give me a sub. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.